Hello guys, I am Vaishali Kikan from Vaishali's e-learning, and today we are moving on to the next chapter of physics, which is the optical instruments. Now we know what is light, what are the different lenses, and today we are going to use light and the lenses and mirrors to form some optical instruments. We are going to first talk about the lenses, camera and photography. Then we are going to move towards the microscope, telescope and the optics of other optical instruments. In this manner we are going to proceed in today's lecture, and this lecture is going to be very interesting one and very important one, so that you will able to learn in detail about the various optical instruments. First of all, we are going to start our discussion with the lens, camera and photography. So lens, camera and photography was started in 16th century, where we had brighter and the sharper image formation with the help of the pinhole cameras. Pinhole cameras were used in the 16th century to form a brighter image as well as sharper image. Then in the 18th century, we got to know that when light falls on a silvered substance, it turns dark. Right, so as soon as light is falling on a silvered substance, it is turning dark. This is the photosensitive property of this substance, and this photosensitive property is used to make a photographic film which was sensitive to light. Right, so this silvered colored substance we used to make the photographic film which was sensitive to light. Then coming to the lens cameras. What are the lens cameras? Lens camera will contain a light proof box. Right, we will be having a light proof box. Outside light will not go inside it. Right, only from the desired location I can send the light inside this box. So this is a light proof box, inside which we have converging lens which direct light onto a film to capture the real image. So what do we have? We have a photographic box in which we avoid the outside light with the light proof nature of this box. Right, so now in this box we have lens. Lens will direct the desired light on the film, and we know film will be changing its characteristics based upon the light, and thus we can form the images. Now coming to the evolution of the lens cameras, how we made the real-time lens cameras and what were the various evolutions that happened. Now initially the single photographic plate lens camera which was used, it was bulky as well as fragile. It was having single photographic plate inside it. It was having flexible roll film, and also it was known as a Kodak camera. It was developed by George Eastman in 1880s, right? Eastman actually developed the process for the colored photography, and thus in 1880s we developed the process of colored photography. He uses the daylight to load the rolling film camera, right? So only daylight was used to get the colored photography. Today we are using the disposable camera, instant camera, digital camera, movie camera as well as roll film camera. So you can see we are using a variety of cameras these days. Now the professional photographers will be using the sophisticated instruments in studio or in the press, or as well as the industrial photography, right? So in the studio photography, in the press photography as well as industrial photography, we require the sophisticated instruments as well as professional photographers. Now if I talk about the movie and the TV industry, in the movie and the TV industry we require high speed, underwater, aerial, microscopic as well as infrared camera, right? So this is the requirement for the movie industry for a given camera. Right, now coming to the various parts of the modern lens camera. So modern lens camera will be having the various parts. First is a light proof box. Right, light proof box, as I told you, it will not allow the light from anywhere to pass. Right, only from the desired location the intended light can pass through this camera. The light proof box is supporting the entire apparatus of this camera. Now coming to the lens system, we have the converging lens system, or we call it as a system of lens. Converging lens or system of lens will gather the light and it will focus it onto the film. Right, after that we have a diaphragm. Diaphragm will control the amount of light which is passing through the aperture when the picture is taken. Sometimes we require a brighter picture, This control can be done with the help of diaphragm. If you want to increase the intensity of the light which is passing inside this box, you can change it with the help of diaphragm. Then we have the shutter. Shutter is the mechanical device that varies the aperture, right? With the help of shutter, we can vary the aperture. Film is required to record image on a live sensitive material of gelatin and silver bromide. Gelatin and silver bromide is a light sensitive material that can be later developed to give a permanent record of scene that is photographed. Right? So if I have a gelatin silver bromide structure, this is a light sensitive mixture and it will be later be developed into a record of the scene photographed. Now then after that we have a viewfinder. Viewfinder will allow the photographer to see what he actually is photographing. Right? So in this manner we have the different parts of modern lens cameras. Coming to the single lens reflex camera, which is also known as the SLR camera. What are the SLR camera? SLR cameras are the camera that uses single lens, as the name suggests, as well as it has a movable mirror. So it is a 35 mm camera, which means we have 35 mm wide film which is used inside it. The exposing frame which we can see from this is 36 mm into 24 mm. Now coming to the photography. As of now we have talked enough about the camera. Now you are very sure about the camera. You now know the various details of the camera, its discoveries, evolution as well. Coming to the photography. Photographer is able to control the 5 important variables with the help of camera when he is doing the photography. First is the film speed. What is the film speed? Film speed is the film's sensitivity to the light. Right? If a particular film is there, how sensitive it is there to the light. Right? It's like here we were using the gelatin and silver bromide film. How sensitive it is to the light, that is told by the film speed. So film will give me the emulsion which contains the silver halide grains, and these emulsions which contains the silver halide grains will affect when light is falling on it, right? So the silver halide grains emulsions are affected when we fall light on the film. And if I have the thicker emulsions, so these emulsion, when they are thicker, we have the larger silver halide grain which is affected at single time, and I can say this is a faster reaction. Right? If we have a thinner emulsion, we can say smaller silver halide grains are affected at a single time and it's a slow reaction. Right? Coming to the ISO number. ISO number like 100, 200, 300 and 400 are denoting the film speed, and the various number refers to the slow speed, medium speed as well as fast speed. Now if there is a photographer which want to do the landscape photography, he will try to use the slow film so that he will get the rich colors of this frame, right, of this scene. So now the slow film will give him the rich colors. If on the other hand a sports photographer is there, sports photographer will be using a fast film to capture the athlete's actions, right, in detail. So whenever we require a slow film, whenever we require a fast film, we choose according to our application. Then comes to the focus. Focus will adjust the distance from the lens system to the film, right? What is the distance from lens to the film, right? Lens is capturing light and it is falling on the film. The distance between lens and the film is adjusted with the help of focus. Now object is having the varying distance, right? If the object is moving, it will be having varying distance. So we have to adjust the focus. Otherwise we will be getting a blurred image of the object. The SLR lens will be having the focus adjusted by turning lens mounted on a spiral screw thread. We have a spiral screw thread. If I turn the lens mounted on this spiral screw thread, I can adjust the focus. Now we will be having simplex cameras as well. So simplex camera will be having fixed focus, and in which objects which are beyond 1.5 meter are only reasonably clear. Right? Coming to the focal length. Focal length is controlled by changing lens either we have to change the lens. So you must have seen some photographers, professional photographers, which are carrying different lenses with them. So why they are carrying different lenses with them? To change the focal length, right? Or by adjusting the attachable zoom lens, we can adjust the zoom lens as well, or we can get a focal length variation. Coming to the exposure time. Exposure time is now varied with the help of the shutter speed, right? So it is the time the shutter remains open when the photograph is taken, right? The shutter controls the amount of light, and the time for which this shutter is open will be telling me the shutter speed, and it is giving me the exposure time, how much time we have the exposure if shutter is open and closed after a very small instant. So we will be having smaller exposure time and a faster shutter speed. So it's stated in seconds or fraction of seconds, like we have the shutter speed as 1/60 and 1/1000. Now coming to the aperture setting. Aperture setting means the setting of the aperture, which means we have the adjustable opening limit diameters, right? So now we have the D, which is the opening diameter is adjustable, we can change it. So D, to which the diameter to which the shutter opens, is adjustable. It is controlled by a number which is called as a f-stop number. What is now f-stop number? It's a ratio of focal length of the lens to the diameter of the aperture. If I divide the focal length to the diameter of the aperture, I will get the f-stop number. F-stop is f upon D. So how we have the calculation of the f-stop number? For example, if I have a lens which is having the focal length as 50 mm and the aperture diameter of the camera is 25 mm. So I write f-stop number as f upon 2. Right? So now coming to the figure, you can see the figure here. We can see the effect of the exposure time. You can see if the exposure time is increased, the sharpness of the moving image will decrease. If I have a moving image, that time I want the exposure time to be less. So you can see the part A over here, we have 1/1000 second exposure time, and this is the clearest picture of the all. Then we have 1/60, then the worst picture which is having the exposure time 1/15. Now coming to the alternative methods of capturing the image. How we can capture the image with some alternative method. First of all, we can use the charge coupled devices which are called as CCD. CCD are the light sensitive device which store the optical data. Right? So now what are the semiconductors that are used to transmit and amplify the electronic signals? These materials are called as semiconductor. So semiconductor are material that will transmit the optical signal, the electronic signal, as well as it can amplify the electronic signal. Right? Coming to the digital camera. Digital camera will be using, obviously from the name suggests, it is a digital camera. It will be taking the digital information instead of film to capture the images. Right? So here in the digital camera we are not having a photographic film. Here we will be having the digital information. So now in the digital camera we can use the CCD array, and CCD array will be having the in one CCD, in one charged coupled device, we have millions of cells, or I can say a charged coupled device will be consisting of millions of semiconductors. Now with the help of this millions of semiconductors, these millions of semiconductors are actually arranged in the rows and columns. These rows and columns, every single point is on this row and the column is denoted as a pixel. Pixel is the image forming unit, right? So the pixel can be made from the cell which is in the CCD array, right? So now over here, what is pixel? Pixel will be the smallest unit which will be recording information that how light has struck the semiconductor, right? How light has struck this cell, right? How light struck it. So it will give me the information about the digital chip, right? It will compress and store the information, right? So now coming to the night vision goggles. Night vision goggles are the goggles that enhance the vision when I have the dim or when I have the dark conditions. In the dim and dark light conditions, we want to enhance our vision. That we can do with the help of night vision goggles, right? So now it can be used in the military purposes, surveillance, for searching purposes, for rescue purposes, for the nighttime hunting and the nighttime birding. You can see the figure here. You can see we have a cross section of night vision goggles. Here you can see the amount of light leaving the eyepiece is 30,000 times more intense than the light that entered. The light which is entering to this eyepiece is amplified 30,000 times, and that is the light we are getting. So we are getting a brighter image, right, of a very dim or dark area. Now you can see over here in the figure, first of all we have the incoming light which is falling on the objective lens. The objective lens will be there in between the fiber optic bundle and the incoming light source. So now incoming light falls on the objective lens. Objective lens will make the light fall on the fiber optic bundle. Now from here light will struck the photocathode, which is made of gallium arsenide, which is a kind of semiconductor. So now here from this photocathode we have the minute traces of visible or infrared light. So minute traces of visible or infrared light will be falling on the gallium arsenide, and as soon as it is falling on the gallium arsenide will emit the electrons. These electrons will strike the screen, and the screen in return produces a green light. So this green light is directed through another optical bundle, and then it reaches to the eyepiece from where we can see. Right. So now I hope you understood the working of the night vision goggles. Right. So now coming to the microscope. So first of all we should understand what is a microscope. Microscope is an instrument which is going to produce enlarged image of any object which is too small to be seen by the naked eyes. So we cannot see the object, like the cells in our body, we cannot see it, but with the help of microscope we can see it, right? So now if I want to view very small object, magnification with the help of simple converging lens can be giving only 2 to 3 times the magnification, which is not enough to see the very small object, right? So we require a larger object, and which requires combination of 2 or more lenses, right, to form a simple compound microscope, right? So now in this microscope we have some lenses. First is the objective lens, which is called the object lens, which is closest to the object, right? So the lens which is placed nearby to the object is the objective or object lens. The lens which is placed near to the eye, which is called the eye lens or ocular, right? So lens the eye looks into. So now here you can see this is the objective lens, right, and this is the object which is placed, this is my object which is placed beyond the focus, right? So when the object is placed beyond the focus, it is going to make an image, right? So this is how the image is formed behind the focus, right? So the objective lens produces a real image is formed, right? It's not an imaginary image. Now the eyepiece, how it is going to work? So eyepiece object, so this is the image for the objective, which will be acting as an object for the eyepiece. So this image is acting as an object for eyepiece, and the eyepiece is going to form an imaginary image, right? So the eyepiece produces an enlarged image of the first real image. So this is the enlarged image. You can see with the help of eyepiece we have formed the enlarged imaginary image of the object. So now when both of these are combined, the two light ray diagrams here are now combined to show the effect of two lenses. We know the ray which is passing through the center will go as it is, the ray which is parallel will move from the focus, and this property we are using to form the ray diagram. So now here the object is made the first image, this is the first real image with the help of objective, and with the help of eyepiece we make the final image, right? This is the final enlarged image. Now coming to the properties of the final enlarged image. This image is virtual, this is not a real image, right? So now this image is inverted, the object is in upward direction, the arrow is in upward direction, the final image has the arrow in the downward direction, this is inverted related to the real image. The third property is that it is larger as compared to the real object. So you can see this is the object and this is the final image, which is very large as compared to the object. So it is larger than the original image and located beyond the secondary focus. So this is the secondary focus, it is located beyond this, right? So now I hope you understood all of the properties of the image and how the microscope is working. So now we are moving to the next optical instrument, that is the telescope. Now telescope is used to see the objects which are in space mostly, right? So if I want to see star, if I want to see moon in a detailed manner, I can use a telescope. So telescope will be containing two or more lenses together, which is used to view the distant objects. Now the images which are formed are actually smaller than the actual object, but these images appear much closer to us and thus they appear large. Now the first telescope that we are going to discuss is Galilean telescope. Galilean telescope uses two lens system. One is a converging lens which is called as the objective, and then other is the diverging lens which is called as the eyepiece. Right, so you can see in the figure we have two lenses. We have a converging lens, objective, and a diverging lens as an eyepiece. Now the upright image is formed with the help of the diverging lens. Right, so diverging lens will intercept light ray from the objective before a real image is formed. Right, it will intercept light ray which is coming from the objective and it will fall it, and a real image will be formed with the help of the Galilean telescope. Now coming to the reflecting telescope, as the name suggests, it will be containing the reflecting surfaces, it will be containing the mirrors. So reflecting telescope using parabolic mirror to focus light. If I have increased diameter of this parabolic mirror, we will be having sharper concentration of light, right? So that time I can get a more magnified image. So eyepiece, and also we will be getting a detailed sharper image. Eyepiece is also a mirror which will magnify and focus the image. You can see this type of telescope in the figure. Coming to the refracting telescope. Refracting telescope will use two converging lenses to focus light, right? Again here also we have two converging lenses. We have the objective with a higher focal length and an eyepiece with a lower focal length. But the problem over here is that we have the inverted image that is formed. You can see in the figure we have the two lenses, an objective and an eyepiece, right? Now both of the lenses are converging lens, you can see in the figure. Coming to the terrestrial telescope. So terrestrial telescope is similar to a refractor but with the addition of the third lens. Right? If you want to see the objects which are in the space like sun, moon, stars you want to observe, then you can easily use the refracting telescope because the output is inverted and the inversion will not affect our understanding about the object that we are studying much. But if you want to get an upright image, then you must use the terrestrial telescope which is having an extra lens, the third lens in addition to the both of the lens that we have in the refracting telescope. Its structure is similar to the refracting telescope where we have an objective and an eyepiece. Objective with higher focal length and eyepiece with a lower focal length. Right? So now the third lens is the erector lens. Right, it is located between objective and the eyepiece, you can see in the figure, and it is used to obtain an upright image. Now the binoculars as well as zoom lens systems are also modified telescopes. We can modify the telescopes and we can get the binoculars as well as zoom lenses. Coming to the optics of other devices like the projectors. So the first type of projector is a slide or movie projector. You can see in the figure. You can see here we have the source of light is the tungsten filament lamp or the quartz iodide lamp. Here we will be using the two converging lens which is known as the condenser. You can see in the figure the two converging lens, the system is called as the condenser. This is used to illuminate the object with the help of the converging lens. We are converging the light beams. So this converged light beam will fall on the object and it will uniformly illuminate the object. Now we are going to place the object in between the focal length distance or twice of the focal length distance from the projection lens. Projection lens will be producing a large real image with the help of this structure. So this is called a slide or movie projector. Now the problem over here is that the image is inverted and the film or slide that we are using must be inverted, right? The projection lens is moved to focus the image. Coming to the second type of projection system, which is a large screen projection system. Large screen projection system is used in the cinematography projection system, right? So here we have a large size and the clear image that is formed with the help of a larger screen projection system. You can see the figure here. We have a special wide angled lens with a new camera system, right? So you can see over here a field view of 150 degree can be achieved. Film frame is larger than 35 mm as well as 70 mm format. Why we are using a bigger film frame? Film frame for a cinematography projection system is a very bigger film frame, more than even 75 mm. Why? To give a clarity, right? Now coming to the perforations. You can see in the figure we have a various perforations in this system. Perforations are the holes on each side of the film, right? So these holes will keep film on the track as it runs through the camera. As film is running through the camera, film is kept on the track with the help of the perforations. Now coming to the IMAX camera. IMAX camera is a 70 mm camera film, but the frame is 15 perforations long. The camera film is over here 70 mm only, but the perforations are large, 15 perforations are there. Now the problem in the large screen projection is that we have to use a light source which is very powerful light source. The average light power of this light source is 15,000 watt. You can see this power is very large. So lens will absorb heat from this powerful light source. The power is so large, 50,000 watt. As soon as it falls on the lens will absorb heat. It will explode or it will crack. Now we have to protect our lens to get explode or crack. So now IMAX is a very good cooling system, right? So now here we require a special cooling system to remove the heat so that the lens will not crack or it will not explode. Now coming to the construction of the optical instrument. We want to see how we can control the position of the lens and how we can control the amount and type of the light in this. So first of all, controlling the position of the lens, right? So you can see in the figure we have a very cheap plastic microscope and hand lens. Now here you can see the lens is mounted on a hollow threaded tube which connected to the base, right? So hollow threaded tube is connected to the base and the object distance is varied by the twisting the lens in the clockwise or non-clockwise direction, right? So if I have the twisting in the clockwise or not clockwise direction, so that time the lens will move up or down, thus we can vary the distance between lens and the object. So this is a very simple type of lens and this is how we can change the position of the lens in a very simple manner. You can see the figure here. We have the alignment telescope where the object and the image distances can be adjusted by a sliding tube. Here we are using a sliding tube to adjust the distance between object and image. You can see the figure. Here we have the race and pinion system. In the race and pinion system, we have a much greater control on the distances, right? It is used in the compound microscope. You must have seen the compound microscope in your school. Coming to the controlling the amount and type of light. How we can control how much light is entering and what light is entering, how we can control. So now each optical instrument work but under different light conditions. If I have a certain optical instrument, it is working best in certain light condition. Other optical instrument will be working good in another light condition. So we have to control the light conditions. If I talk about the classroom microscope, we can control the light condition with the help of the different sides hole above the light source. We have the holes above the light source which can control the amount of light. So it is observed, used to observe the specimen under the bright or the as well as under the dim light. If you have dim light, you will control the amount of light that is falling inside the microscope. You will make more light fall so that under the dim light condition also you can observe the image. Other microscope will be using the iris diaphragm, which will be giving me smoother control of intensity of light which is passing through the specimen, right? So if I want a smoother control of intensity, better control of intensity, then I will be using the iris diaphragm in other microscope. You can use then filter also, which can control the infrared and the UV light which can enter the given optical instrument as well. I hope you understood all of the things that I have discussed so far, and I hope you are going to meet me soon in the next class where we will talk in detail about the electricity. So if you have still not downloaded our mobile app, and if you want the notes also, you can download, visit our mobile app and check the various things available for you, right? Also, if you are still not connected on the Instagram and LinkedIn, try to connect us on these platforms as well. And if you have still not subscribed the channel, like the video, please do it as well. Thank you so much.